Well, look who decided to show and do a show. Welcome back to GameStack Podcast, right here on We Just Love Games Network. You are listening to episode 159, The Tulip Scourge. I am your co-host, Vendertron. Joining me this evening, as always, is the lovely Shalene. Hello, Shalene.
Hello,
How are
hello.
you?
How are you
How are you
doing?
doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been like 3 weeks since
I
we've
know.
done one of
I know.
these. It's been
Guys
so
and gals,
long.
I am very sorry. I apologize. I
Hmm.
had every intention of doing a show last week. It was entirely my fault. I was installing new flooring in my house and I looked and it was like 5:30 and time to do a show, and I was like, I can't do I forgot all about it. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So, here we are. Another week,
Yes,
another dollar.
I'm glad to see you. It's very nice to see
Yes.
you. It hasn't been that long since I've seen you though, because Animal Crossing has
It's
kept us
so great.
connected.
I talk to you like every day now. It's awesome.
Every night is
I
Animal
love it.
Crossing night.
It's just like, yeah, it's
I do want to give a quick shout out to our folks joining us in the chat: Kawaii Banana Sushi, Ayla Wow, and Sayer.
yes. Um, yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks, Shalene. You were away on holiday. I think you and Archon had gone away.
No, it was his
That's what it
birthday a
was.
couple weeks ago. So I was taking him for a
Yes.
birthday dinner. And then I had a work conference the week
And then
after
I
that.
was
So I
being
was out of
silly.
town.
But I also had I was also frantically working to get the final revisions done on my thesis proposal that had to be resubmitted, with
Hmm.
the requirements of the conditions of my candidacy exam, which I passed in January, which I've been working diligently almost every day for the past 8 months to try to get done. So that has been done and submitted on the 31st. And now I'm like coasting. I am on vacation right now because my committee was like, "You look really tired. You should probably take some time off." Actually, we're telling you that you're going to take some time off. You don't get a choice in this. I was like, okay. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
It's good that they recognize the need and wanted to prioritize
I'm
your
in a
health.
good place right now. Today I slept in. And then I played Animal Crossing, which is like the best thing in the world. How it doesn't get any better than sleeping in and waking up and playing Animal Crossing. And then I went out to get some pumpkin seeds because I decided that I wanted to spend my morning making pumpkin scones. So I spent the morning baking, making pumpkin scones.
You were like a real life
It was
Animal
just the
Crossing
best thing
villager.
ever. And then I did a little bit of painting in the house, painted a couple banisters. I put a shelf up. I watched Hoarders Canada. I'm like hooked on all of this like daytime TV now.
Hmm.
It's terrible. Anyways, yeah, it's nice. We do have a show. We've got a jam-packed show to do, so we should probably move on to more important things. As I mentioned, episode 159, the Tulip Scourge. If you are listening, also don't forget the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase. That blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Tell your friends about the show. If you are listening live and new to the channel, welcome on this lovely Friday evening. If you scroll down while you're listening live, you can get access to our chat after dark, or the Discord, as we like to more formally call it. Shalene, what's going on in the Discord in the last couple weeks?
All kinds of stuff. Recently, I posted a joke that my weather app had posted. I have a weather app that's
Yeah, I've
pretty much
seen
a
this in the
smart aleck.
lobby.
Yeah, and it says, "Why are you checking the weather when we all know you'll be inside playing Starfield for the next 3 years?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, you're
Yeah.
not wrong." And then folks started downloading my weather app, which is Carrot Weather. If anybody wants to check that out, carrot like the vegetable, Carrot Weather. And Kawaii Banana Sushi says, I feel like I just downloaded GLaDOS to my phone. 2 seconds in, and she's calling me a meat bag. Everybody's showing these like fake ads that they're getting. and they're hilarious. VIP girlfriend experience, get your organs harvested by a beautiful lady. Um, want someone gone? Find hot assassins in
Oh
your
my
area.
gosh.
So
Coming
silly.
soon,
It's so
grandparents
silly.
forever. Taxidermy.
Oh no. Oh no. But the Discord's always a good time.
Yeah, if you want to join the Discord, scroll down right below us in the Twitch page and you can click the link. That'll get you directly into the Discord. The Starfield channel, as we all expected, has been very busy with traffic. Everybody's posting their
Ooh, now
spoilers
that
and
I am
things.
finally on the PC, you already did it. You already did it. I was just gonna move it into the correct place
I know, right?
alphabetically. It's been
Bugging
driving
me.
me insane
It's
that
been,
it has
and you
been
know
out of
why it was
order
like that? It's because
alphabetically.
I did it on my phone, and you can't move the
Right.
channels on your phone, which is
Mm-hmm.
just it's the dumbest thing ever. I'm glad that we both feel
Wow,
the
this is
way.
great
I'm
radio.
glad we both are irritated by that.
Yeah, every time that I saw it, it drove me absolutely nuts. And I would try to move it, and then I would remember that you can't do that on your phone. And I never on
Yeah,
Discord on
it
the
drives
PC
me
anymore.
insane.
So
Um, yeah, and I haven't been on Discord on my PC because I haven't really been on my PC all that much because I've been playing so much Animal Crossing and then in between doing all these
mhm.
little projects here and there. So, but yeah, Discord's great. Join our Discord. We love to have you. We also have some news. We're going to talk about the stocks. We're going to roll through some mail, and also it is new releases time, so we're going to cover that as well. Shalene and I are going to go through some of the screenshots and stories that people have submitted and talk about our own gameplay. Let's hop right into it with this just in.
Do you mind if I interrupt you for just a
Yeah, go
second?
ahead.
I wanted to address a question from Ayla Wow in chat. It's been a while since I was last able to listen to a whole podcast. Is Rick okay? I don't see him. Rick is fine. Rick has been on hiatus from
We fired him.
podcasting, but we
Let's
talked
just
to him.
let's
He's
just
doing
stop beating
fine.
around the bush. We fired Rick. We kicked him out
No,
of the studio.
stop. Stop. We did not fire Rick, but Rick is fine. He's happy. He's living his best life. So
Yeah, if
shout
you
out to
see
Rick.
him out
But
there, guilt him into coming back onto the show because we
yes, we
miss
miss him
him
very
and
much.
we keep trying to get him back, but it's like trying to get a squirrel to eat nuts out of your hand.
Exactly. It really is. Yeah.
Anyways, I guess I got to go
Okay.
through the new releases, yeah?
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, so as always, a shout out to Joseph Tao for helping us compile the news week to week. We love you, buddy. Um, these are the September new releases, and as you already know, it is September 8th, so we're already through a week of new releases. On September 1st, you could have gotten 30XX on Switch. On the 5th, you could have got Chance of Sinar on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Rune Factory 3 as well on the Switch, September 5th. Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5 September 6th, and also the much anticipated Starfield on Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Then on September 7th, Final Fantasy 17 Ever Crisis 7.
Seven. Just seven.
Sorry, 7. iOS, does it matter? iOS and Android. September 7th as well, Rugby 24 on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Then today you can get Fae Farm on Switch and PC, as well as NBA 2K24. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Then on September 12th, you will be able to get Eternights on PS5, PS4, and PC, as well as Nor: Play with Your Food, PS5, PS4, PC, and Mac. On the 12th, you'll also get Super Bomberman R2 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet: The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Teal Mask, on Switch, September 13th. On the 14th, you'll get Ad Infinitum on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, as well as Zoloti
axolotls, those little
Axolotl.
like those little aquatic lizard like creatures. Um,
Sure.
this is a play on that. It's AK axolotl, like an
Okay,
AK-47.
okay. Um, yeah, thanks a lot. On PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. It took me a while, but I got it. Deceit 2 coming on the 14th as well on PC. Monster Hunter now on iOS and Android. And The Crew Motorfest on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Thunder Ray also on PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 14th. Uh, Bat and Kados 1 and 2 HD Remaster on the Switch on September 15th. On the 18th, Gloomhaven on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Then on the 19th, you'll get Lies of P, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Mac. Mortal Kombat 1 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC on the 19th as well. You Suck at Parking, which I feel like we need to look this one up, Shalene. Um,
Yeah, I'm just frankly surprised that my friends and loved ones haven't already been sending me this game
So you
to practice because it's entirely possible that I
is
do
the
suck at
game
parking.
entirely
And
about being really bad at parking? Let's take a look here. So it's sort of like
oh
an
my
obstacle
goodness, that is some
course.
zany
I
physics
love
happening.
this. I
Oh, this is great. Oh man.
and you park
Oh, this
and
is
then you got to park in the
great.
little spot.
So
That's
you have a little
great.
square that you're supposed to park in, and there are all kinds of zany physics challenges to get you
Yeah, this
there.
looks like fun. Um,
That looks like such a silly
and it looks
time.
like you could possibly play with friends. I don't know. You Suck at Parking will be out on September 19th. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Then on September 20th, we have Party Animals, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Payday 3 on the 21st on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, the much anticipated DLC. Yeah. Yeah, this is a
Yes,
DLC.
it's a DLC.
PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. That comes out on September 26th. El Paso Elsewhere on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on the 26th, as well as Mineko's Night Market on Switch and PC, and that's on the 26th. Also on the 26th, lots of stuff coming out. My Time at Sandrock, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch. Is this from the same makers as My Time
My
Porsche?
time at
My Time at
Porsche?
Porsche.
I would think so, but I'm not aware of that. I can do a quick
Also on
Google.
the 26th, Paleo Pines on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Yes, it is from the same makers of My Time at
Excellent,
Porsche.
excellent. Infinity Strash: Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Day on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC on the 28th. Also, Sonic Frontiers: The Final Horizon, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 28th. On the 29th, you can get Cocoon, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
Okay, please tell me that that's like inspired by the film. I don't think it is. Oh, I'm disappointed.
Cocoon, maybe.
By former Playdead developers. Oh, so it's
It's a
probably good.
Switch game, yeah?
Okay, Cocoon
Love the
is
art style.
worlds within worlds. The concept of Cocoon is dizzying. See that orb? Walk over to it, and you can press a button to dive inside, falling vertiginously into an entire world contained within a tiny sphere. Explore that world, and you might find another orb with another world to dive
Oh,
into.
I like this.
Oh, that's so
You know what
interesting.
this reminds me of?
I am
You know what this
interested.
reminds me of? It reminds me of Monument Valley.
I've never played Monument
Best
Valley.
puzzle game ever. And it's just on your phone. The only reason I played it was because Kevin Spacey plays it in House of Cards.
I think I did play Monument Valley. Is that the one with the
Yes.
stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cocoon. I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, I'm just making a little note here.
Then finally, on the 29th, you'll be able to get EA Sports FC24 on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. But hold the phone, there are some free games as usual. The PlayStation Plus monthly games for September include Saints Row, Black Desert Traveler Edition, and Generation Zero. And then, of course, I'm not going to go into the details of those games because we don't have time for that. But Prime Gaming rewards for September also include 7 free games that you can pick up. So you may want to keep an eye out if you've ever wondered why a Football Manager 2023 is considered one of the best sports games around. You're in luck because that is also on the docket to be one of the 7 games that you can access. Other free games include the in-depth Bronze Age multiplayer strategy game Ozymandias.
Ozymandias?
Ozymandias, thank you. Turn-based RPG Absolute Tactics: Daughters of Mercy. The old school point-and-click adventure Dexter Stardust. The chess-themed roguelike Shotgun King: The Final Checkmate. Winemaking and farming game 100 Days. And the mysterious unsolved case: Murderous Script. So be sure to snag those on Prime Gaming if you've got access to that. And I think that's it for our games listed for September.
I believe it is. Thank
So I'm
you.
going to hand that over to you, Shalene.
So that will bring us into the news. I wanted to start off with this one that could have a pretty huge impact on the industry. The Actors Union SAG-AFTRA could launch video game strikes over wages and AI. This is a Video Game Chronicle article written by Andy Robinson. And of course, you are most likely aware of the union, which has been part of a Hollywood actors strike since July. They stated on Friday that they've authorized a members' vote after reaching a stalemate in negotiations with game companies such as Activision and Take-Two over wages and AI protection. SAG-AFTRA is seeking an 11% increase in wages for game performers, which is the same that it's seeking for those who work under film and television contracts. They also want protections from AI, which it says poses a threat to performers' artistry and livelihoods. The companies involved in the negotiations include Activision, Disney, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Insomniac Games, Take-Two Productions, and WB Games. SAG-AFTRA has a separate contract with video game publishers that was recently extended to November 2024 to allow talks to continue. Once again, we are facing employer greed and disrespect. Once again, artificial intelligence is putting our members in jeopardy of reducing their opportunity to work. And once again, SAG-AFTRA is standing up to tyranny on behalf of its members, said SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher. So,
I mean, I knew it was a matter of time before it sort of bled over into video games. Yeah. Especially since we've seen this sort of proliferation of actors becoming part of video games, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Shalene?
I think that it is important for workers to protect their rights, and I support them. I support the video game voice actors if they are wanting to pursue better conditions and better pay and protection for their livelihoods. I support them.
Yeah, I wonder.
And your thoughts?
I just I think it's probably a good consideration, especially since the video game industry is just not unionized. And right now developers are taking advantage of, writers taking advantage
absolutely
of.
They need a union.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm sure Microsoft is like, oh crap.
Yeah, I actually would not be hugely concerned personally about a strike. and how it would affect, because frankly, I could use a little time to catch up on video games. So as a gamer, yeah, that a little break would be okay with me. But I do understand that a strike would affect many livelihoods. And in that instance, I don't mean to be flippant about that because I know it would affect many, many workers' jobs. And yeah. Ayla Wow in chat says, I believe AI has a use and a time and a place for use, but the voice actors need better protection, and I support them
Yeah,
myself.
we are in a very tumultuous time for AI. I've used it in quite a bit of my research, and I've had to be really careful about how I use
Mm-hmm.
it. And the public perception of how I've used it so far has not been well received. Yeah, and
Really?
that's a large part because of just the overall public perception of AI.
Right.
So, yeah, I think AI certainly has its uses, but we need to understand that it has a place. It is not
Mm-hmm.
in place of something else. Yeah,
Yes,
so, yeah.
I agree.
Hmm.
Well, you know what else has a place? Movies. I really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
movies. And in the future, in the near future, I will be able to watch a movie based on the video game Stray.
Really?
This is a Collider article by Rob London. Annapurna Animation is developing an adaptation of the Stray video game, and of course, which stars a stray cat, as its
Yeah.
protagonist in a cyberpunk near future universe. And the game's perspective is through the eyes of a cat. The challenge for the studio is to capture the essence of that in the movie. I wonder if they are going to try and give the cat a voice for the film, or if they're going to maintain the realism of the silent cat experience. The cat meows, the cat does not speak. It's
I
really
mean,
interesting.
I wonder if it's just
Um,
like a remake of The Secret Life of Cats on Netflix.
the studio's video game arm, Annapurna Interactive, has plans to adapt some of their other games, such as 12 Minutes and The Outer Wilds, in the
12 Minutes was
future.
really good.
I like Stray. I haven't gotten to the end of it yet. Someday I will. But it's a fantastic game, fantastic little game. Really
Mm.
enjoy it. But I don't think this is an experience that needs a movie. I think it kind of already is a movie. That's, what I mean? It kind of already is a movie. It's sure you walk and do some very very limited platforming and puzzle solving, but eh, this is not a game that you play for intensive gameplay. This is a game that you play for atmosphere and experience. And I think the idea of making a film kind of cheapens it a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that whenever we take something that's been really well received and try to make a movie out of it, I don't know. It seems to me that it creates the perception of trying to squeeze another penny out of an already dry well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Enter the Halo TV series and the Witcher series and this new Fallout TV show that's coming. And granted, some of those were actually pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm. I am hopeful about the Fallout
Yeah,
show too.
yeah. Um, but it's to me, it says more about a lack of innovation than it does anything else because you're just taking
Mm-hmm.
content that's already been thought up and just making more of it to make more money. It's
I
literally the
really think that
lowest
not everything
it's the
needs to,
lowest hanging
yeah.
fruit, right? Like it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They're just trying to get blood from a
Yeah.
stone at this point. I don't think everything needs to cross mediums. And I think Stray was wonderful and should be left that way.
God of Radio in
But
the chat says, I think the
um,
broader issue is that making movies of games like this implicitly puts the games in a lower tier artistic category than movies. Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it, God of Radio. That exact, yes, that is the exactly the core
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He said, he goes on to say games can truly be art in and of themselves. And yes, they can, and they are. And Stray is. And it does diminish what the game is by the suggestion that it needs to be a movie
Mm-hmm.
instead. You know, that's absolutely.
I recently watched One Piece on Netflix, which is it's
How was
based
that?
on the manga series. One Piece is
Mm-hmm.
they made a live action of it on Netflix.
And I think they have an anime
Yeah, and
too,
it's all
right?
about pirates. So naturally, I was like, "Ooh, what is this? I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna
Yay,
watch like 10
pirates.
minutes of it and then decide." And I watched 10 minutes, and I was like, "Actually, this is pretty good." Then I ended up watching all 8 episodes, but by the end of the eighth episode, I was like, "No, no, this is
Mm-hmm.
yeah." But
And did you have any investment in the property before?
no,
Like, have you read the
no,
manga
I
or watched the
hadn't.
anime?
So that's the other thing. Like, I wonder what
Okay.
people think of, or what people
Who are heavily
or
invested.
who
Yeah.
are not, like people who will watch the Fallout TV series who have never played a
Mm-hmm.
Fallout game. Like what are they
That's
going to think of
wow.
that?
That's wild to think
Right? Cuz
about.
there's going to
Do
be
you think that'll send people to go play Fallout
I
games?
I
I would
think
think so.
Netflix now as a demographic is older people. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's people 30 and older. My parents love
Mm-hmm.
Netflix. They watch Netflix all the time. I rarely watch it. One Piece is the first show that I've watched on Netflix in quite some time, other than what was that riveting true crime that I made all of you
Uh,
watch? I
yes,
just
that
killed
was
my dad.
good.
That's what it was.
Yes, yes.
But
That's the name of the show. He's not making
yeah,
a
no.
confession.
um,
Just to be
but
clear, it's actually on Amazon Prime. The
oh, is
Fallout
it?
show.
It's going to
It's
be
going
on
to be on
Amazon
Amazon
Prime.
Prime. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder streaming services. I
I
think.
use Amazon Prime really often because that's where my 600-pound life
Yeah,
is. And
I
that's
should
yeah.
watch that.
I am on episode season 9
There's
now, so
nine
we're creeping up
seasons.
on the end of it. There are
Oh my
11
god, was it
seasons.
written?
And then there's
Jesus.
the side show of Where Are They Now that follows up on the patients from the earlier seasons. This show is a ride, I tell ya. It is a whole experience, man. Wow.
Um,
Anyway, it motivates me to go to the gym.
jeez.
So there's that.
9 seasons? Was it written by like Shonda Rhimes or something?
Oh my goodness. It's have you watched that
600
show?
Pound
Have you
Life?
watched it?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. You
No.
watched any of it? It's like a reality show and it follows the patients that are like
Yeah.
600 pounds, and they go on this weight loss journey and they get weight loss surgery from this surgeon in Houston that specializes in the very obese because surgery on a very large person is very
Yes,
difficult
it
and
happens in phases. It's not something that
yeah.
just like you go in and you come out and you're like this new person. Yeah.
Yeah. So it focuses on basically the work of this one doctor
Hmm.
as he helps people, and some of them are really successful and they lose the weight and they get healthy and they live amazing lives, and I'm so happy for them. And some of them don't make the changes they need. They just and it's
Yeah.
heartbreaking, just
Yeah.
heartbreaking to watch. So wow, we've gone farther off the rails than we usually do, and that's saying
Well,
something.
if you all are loving true crime, check out I Just Killed My Dad. It was probably one of the best true crimes I've watched. And now I need to go watch 600 Pound Life. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, on with the
Yes.
news.
So E3 has confirmed that there will not be a 2024 event in Los
Hmm.
Angeles, and they are planning a complete reinvention for 2025. And Reed Pop, the event planning company that was planning the 2023 show before it was canceled, has parted ways with the ESA, and they will no longer be involved in the future of E3. So, according to GamesIndustry.biz, the trade body is working on a complete reinvention of E3. And um, that's really all we know here. It says, while the reach of E3 remains unchanged in our industry, we are continuing to explore how we can evolve it to best serve the video game industry and are evaluating every aspect of the event, from format to location. We are committed to our role as a convener for the industry and look forward to sharing news about E3 in the coming months. And I miss E3. I think E3 is important. I loved E3. It's a very special time. I I'm sad that it's been, that it really has been on this downward slope, that it was outright canceled a couple of times. I do hope that there is a successful revitalization of the conference, because I'd love to go back to E3.
Yeah, I mean, you had a good experience while you were there.
I did, yeah, I've been 3 times, I think, and it's super fun. It's really, really neat. The energy of being in this room with all these people who are so excited about these upcoming games, and getting to speak directly to developers who are really excited to be showing you their game, and it's like nothing else. It's certainly a kind of magic.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it because I never experienced what you experienced at E3,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time,
Well, even before I had gone, I considered E3 to be a very Christmas like situation, and there were times in the past that I planned my days off of work around when E3 was airing on G4 TV, or when it was streaming, or because I wanted to be there and experiencing it even
mhm.
secondhand. And I loved watching along and seeing the new announcements, and just experiencing that collective excitement with the rest of the gaming world. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
now that I
just
think about it, like it is kind of a shame because I have watched E3 almost every year. And
mm-hmm,
I have to admit that with these shows individualized and these conferences individualized or shattered, I have not watched a single one of them.
it doesn't drum up the same kind of interest or
Yeah,
excitement. It
yeah.
just doesn't.
Because, like, I can't keep track of that. Mind you,
Mm-hmm.
someone who knows me would say, well, you managed to keep track of all the different tennis tournaments and you watch those like um so maybe I'm just, you know, splitting hairs here, but E3 E3 though was
I am
more
inclined to agree with you,
E3 though
though.
was more for industry media rather than, gamers themselves, right? I think I
In a
think it
way,
was more,
yes.
and I think that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why maybe it failed in the way that it did, because when
Mm-hmm.
gaming companies folded out or pulled out of E3, that's when the whole thing came crashing down, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if it was primarily for gamers and for the fans of these games, E3 probably would still be happening. I kind of think, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. The days of E3 that were open to the public were not nearly as fun. It was
And it was
cramped
messy.
and
Like they got themselves
messy.
into
It's
some
very
PR
messy.
situations that weren't good because you had stupid streamers
Mm-hmm.
doing stupid things. So
Mm-hmm. Then you had the ESA doxing all of
yeah,
the journalists. That was fun.
yeah. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
I feel like the pandemic was an opportunity for having a digital space for something that was E3 like. That had everything sort of concentrated in one space, and I think people still
Mm-hmm.
want that. And I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Are gaming companies gonna realize that having their own individual conference is not gonna be as good? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
To me, it's kind of like, I think there's actually a scientific term for this, but you know how all the car dealerships in town are like in the same area, and they all make more money because of that instead of by splitting up over the town. Are you familiar with this phenomenon?
Proximal wealth. Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I feel like E3 has a similar situation. The interest of E3 draws so much attention, and all of the video games, the rising tide lifts all the ships. And now that we don't have that one centralized location, we have the PlayStation stream, and then there's a Nintendo Direct the next day, and then there's over here an Xbox show. And because they're not centralized, uh, the tide isn't lifting all those ships. The tide never rises very high. um that's how I see it. I feel like the interest just isn't as intense because it's not as exciting. But it's the end of an era. And you know what else forms the end of an era, Bender? Charles Martinet, who voiced Mario for, I believe, 35 years, has stepped down from being the voice of Mario. And
Hello,
Oh, I'm
everybody.
sorry. That just automatically played.
Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto has issued a thank you to this voice actor. Um, Last month, Nintendo announced that Martinet would be stepping back from recording character voices and will now serve as a Mario ambassador. They also later confirmed that Martinet does not voice Mario in the upcoming Switch exclusive Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And in a special video message issued yesterday, September the 7th, Miyamoto recalled when Martinet made his debut as the voice of Mario in 1996's seminal 3D platformer, Super Mario 64, and his penchant for calling Miyamoto Papa, as well as the many trips the pair had taken together promoting Mario and Nintendo across the globe. Miyamoto said that he was deeply grateful for Martinet's work bringing Nintendo characters to life for 30 years, nearly 30 years. He said, Charles-san, thank you very much. And over the weekend, Martinet discussed his new role as a Mario ambassador, saying, I don't know what that is yet. He said, I am now a Mario ambassador. I don't know what that is yet. I'm not retired, as it were, but I'm an ambassador. As we step forward into the future, I will learn, we'll all learn exactly what that is.
That's so interesting.
As for who is replacing Martinet as the voice of Mario, Nintendo has yet to say.
Man,
So,
that really
what are your
is
thoughts?
an end of an era because like
Right?
he's the Robin Williams of video games. Right?
Yes, I think that's
Right?
fair to say.
I mean,
Yeah.
he only voiced one character, well, that I know of, but it was a significant character. Mario is the single most significant video game character in my childhood and my adult years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, that's huge. Huge.
It is, yeah. That was one of the stories that I most regretted we were not able to cover in a timely manner because of our little hiatus in shows that we had recently.
Wow.
So I was glad that we had an opportunity to talk about it now. Thank you from the GameStack family to Charles Martinet.
Indeed.
For, your talents, sharing your talents, and giving a voice to our video games for so long.
Well said.
Speaking of Nintendo,
Why? Sorry.
Speaking of Nintendo, according to this Video Game Chronicle article written by Andy Robinson, Nintendo has showed demos of a Switch successor hardware at Gamescom. According to this article, they have held private tech demos ahead of an expected 2024 launch. Yes. This is based on a report from Eurogamer, which Video Games Chronicle can corroborate via their own sources. According to Eurogamer, Nintendo privately showed invited developers specially prepared tech demos for its next generation games console, which could launch as early as next year. One of the Switch 2 demos is understood to have been an improved version of the Switch launch title Zelda Breath of the Wild, running at a higher frame rate and resolution than the original game did on hardware targeting the new console's specs. But there is no suggestion that this game will actually be re-released. Another
Interesting.
Video Games Chronicle source claimed that Nintendo showcased Epic's impressive Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, which was originally released to show the power of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X in 2021, running on target specs for its next console. The demo is said to have been running using NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling technology with advanced ray tracing enabled and visuals comparable to Sony and Microsoft's current gen Chronicles. However, it should be noted that this does not mean the Switch successor will sport the raw power of these devices, which are not portable devices. DLSS, deep learning super sampling, is a feature exclusive to NVIDIA graphics cards. On the PC, it works by using AI to upscale the resolution of games, effectively allowing developers to achieve higher graphical settings and better frame rates on weaker hardware. I'm sorry, I just completely misread that. But yeah, I thought that was
I
interesting
wonder what it's going
news.
to look like.
So, ah, I don't think they'll go too very far from the current
I agree.
hardware in terms
Mm-hmm.
of looks. I think it's just going to be a more powerful machine, but I expect it to be similar.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
I imagine that
The Switch has been such a
I imagine they'll make
powerhouse.
some slight variations, like maybe a little bit bigger screen or less of a bevel.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe some improvements to the Joy-Con would be
Yeah,
nice.
I mean they had already made improvements to the Joy-Con with the OLED
Mhm.
Switch.
Maybe we could fix that whole stick drift issue. That'd
Yeah.
be nice.
I love my Switch. Of course,
I do
right after
too.
I buy a new OLED Switch, they would announce. That's like exactly what happens. That's my life, Shalene.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Indeed. You tend to be a pretty good prognosticator of
You
what's going
know,
to
if that were
happen
true,
in
Shalene, I
video
wouldn't have bought a
games.
Switch and I would have just waited till next year. But carry on.
But something else that you called is that, according to this TechSpot article, a study suggests that China's online gaming restrictions might not be achieving the intended
Mm,
results. In
mm,
fact, they could be having the opposite
mm.
effect. So, do you want to talk about this one?
Sure. I don't know if many of you recall, but in a previous episode of GameStack, we had covered China's restrictions that they were placing on underage video game players. And they have imposed severe restrictions in online gaming for those under 18, which uh, basically is a way to prevent gaming addiction among youth, or so they claim. Um, and what they have found, so these restrictions were actually tightened back in 2021, specifically on the number of hours that those under 18 in the country could play online games. Since November 2019, minors had been allowed to access them for 1.5 hours on weekdays and 3 hours on holidays and weekends. They also weren't allowed to play between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m., but this was cut to just 1 hour of playtime between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Fridays, weekends, and holidays. Um,
Oof.
yeah. One might expect also that those extreme conditions would have a significant impact on how young people in China play video games. But a new report out of PC Gamer, reporting on a new research study, claims that this actually suggests otherwise. The study itself is titled No Evidence That Chinese Playtime Mandates Reduced Heavy Gaming in One Segment of the Video Games Industry. And it notes that the governments around the world who are also considering regulatory measures aimed at reducing young people's time spent on digital devices, particularly video games, has raised some questions of how effective China's approach to this has been. The study if you're wondering, is a massive amount of anonymized data that they analyzed, spanning 1 million separate game identifiers, 7.04 billion hours of playtime, and around 2.4 billion gamer profiles. There were multiple accounts for single users, of course, so this may have biased some of the results, but they were collected from Chinese users between August 16th, 2019 and January 16th, 2020. So almost a 2-year period. And these dates were specifically chosen to avoid any specific lockdowns skewing the results as the result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the data was provided by Unity Technologies, which is the maker of the Unity engine, if you are unfamiliar. And that is used by 61% of game developers right now. The data didn't reveal which users were under 18, so they don't have any specific way to say that this particular age group has overreported or underreported hours, screen time, and things like that. But the results did find that while the majority of players were gaming for less than an hour per week before the regulations, there was a slight increase in the amount of heavy play, which would be classified as 4 hours per day, 6 days per week, after the restrictions were introduced. It's also noted that the use of VPNs and account sharing was also part of the scenario and was not necessarily able to be looked at in greater depth within the context of this study. But the researchers on the study said, for the domain of gaming, our study provides evidence that broadly scoped restriction policies on youth digital behavior may lead to no widespread and uniform decrease in the utilization of video games. And they added the caveat, while our analyses show that the likelihood of heavy playtime may have not been reduced in some parts of the game industry after regulation, they are unable to estimate how prevalent this phenomenon is among young people specifically, and that's because of the ethics issue behind being able to gather data for those under 18. I will note that in Canada and the US, you are able to gather data on people under 18, so there must be some sort of legal restriction or ethical restriction for institutions in China from being able to analyze that data, which I think is interesting. But I don't know. Like, I have to read the study in whole, but I mean, like, when we talked about it before, I was like, this is not going to happen. Like, the more you restrict something from people, the more they do it. That's just how it is.
Yes.
And that's pretty straight across the board. When you restrict people from food or specific diets, they eat more crappy food and they just do it in secret. Same with video games. If you restrict kids from video games, they're just going to access it some other way, at a friend's house or late at night when everyone else in the house is sleeping. Like, there's just always going to be a way. That it's a psychological phenomenon. I forget the name of it now, but it'll come to me. What do you think of this, Shalene?
I pretty much agree with you. Yeah, the best way to get me to do something is to tell me that I can't. Um, and I don't think it surprised any of us that that these restrictions were not effective. But it's really interesting. That's that's I really don't have
Sorry, I
a
was
little bit of
muted there.
commentary on it.
No, I'm just trying to think of the Barnum effect. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm just Wikipediaing it. I think it's called the Barnum effect. Um, yeah. Anyways,
interesting.
so that's, I mean, authoritarian countries, I tell you.
So yeah, let's talk about Megan Fox.
Speaking
I
speaking
know
of
that's really
authoritarians, no.
exciting for you. Megan Fox will be playing Natara in Mortal Kombat 1. I didn't recognize this character. I don't remember her from my own Mortal Kombat days, but Mortal Kombat 1 will be bringing this character back for the first time in 20 years. And Megan Fox is doing the voice. It doesn't really look like they've modeled the character on her at all, just the voice. But she's very excited to be voicing this character. She describes Natara as evil, but also good, and says that she's trying to save her people. She had some very good things to say about uh, the franchise, the Mortal Kombat franchise in general, and she seems to be very passionate about her portrayal of
Cool.
Natara. Having watched the trailer, I think this character looks like a really cool character. She's absolutely vicious, and it just looks like fun to play with the addition of wings and vampire abilities. Just absolutely vicious, brutal. Um, I'm for it. I'm a fan. I I was they played a few of Megan Fox's lines, and I was not the biggest fan of her voice acting, but um, I still think the character itself looks very cool.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
I think I'm not really the biggest fan of Megan Fox in general, but I think it's really cool that she's going out of her normal wheelhouse
Mm-hmm.
and trying something different.
And based on watching this interview with her, I really was taken with the fact that she does seem very passionate about the game and about the
Mm-hmm.
character. So to me, that's a great sign. I love to see when an actor really cares about the portrayal of a character. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a good thing.
I've loved the last few years in video games where we have seen more actors get involved in video game development.
And we're not saying that voice actors aren't actors, because they absolutely
Yeah,
are.
that's I
Um,
was generalizing all. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's I'd like to see more actors and voice actors and people famous
absolutely.
people doing voice acting in games. I would like to see more of
I
that.
really do think that Natara's move set looks really,
Mm-hmm.
really cool. And the fatal look at this fatality. Holy smokes. Look at that.
Is are those his intestines?
Those are his intestines. She lifted him up by a rope made of his own intestines, because Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
yeah, it looks
that's fun.
fantastic. So that's enough of that for now. That's quite enough
Yep.
internet for today. Bender, did you ever watch the
Of
Gargoyles
course.
cartoon
Of
back in the
course.
day? Yeah, it was such a good
It was the
show, right?
best.
Oh my gosh. And I was recently reminded what a good show it was, because Tim has been hosting Saturday morning cartoons in the House of Hooligans Discord. And the last couple of days, last couple of weeks have been the
Oh,
Gargoyles cartoon.
nice.
So it's been really fun catching up on
Yeah.
some of those. But I bring it up because there was a Gargoyles video game. I was unaware of that, but it's been remastered and it looks pretty fantastic, actually. It's a really solid looking platformer. It will be releasing in October on Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and PC. It was originally released in 1995. It was a 16-bit game, and um, it will be coming on the 19th of October, the remaster. Watching this trailer looks really cool, and they have made it where you can switch back and forth between the original graphics and the new remastered graphics, which I think is always a neat addition. I might enjoy playing it in the original 16-bit, frankly. Although the new, more polished animated art style does also look really cool. The game originally came to the Sega Genesis, and it was well received. They had planned to release it on Super Nintendo, but they didn't. And now, 28 years later, we're getting it back. And if you have never checked out the Gargoyles cartoon, it actually holds up pretty well. So I recommend going back to that and revisiting it. And I will definitely be interested in checking out the game. It looks like a very solid beat 'em up
Yeah,
platformer. So
Gargoyles and Reboot and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps, all in the same era.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
those were the
wonderful
days.
stuff.
Those are the days, Shalene.
So our next article is about I'm sorry, I'm fighting off a sneeze right now. It is about the Super Mario Wonder Direct that was recently held by Nintendo. And we're not going to go through all of this because there was a ton of new information, but I did want to just discuss briefly some of the things that I found more interesting and just to basically talk about how neat I think this game looks. Um, so, of course, a bunch of new characters were introduced. That adorable little caterpillar from the first trailer is a little guy named Prince Florian, and he's adorable, and I love him. And there will be new worlds, new levels, a bunch of new locations. There are these talking flowers that the internet seems to really hate. Um, Something I found interesting is that out of the 12 playable characters, most of them will function exactly the same. And I was actually a little bit disappointed in this because in the past, Princess Peach has had like a float jump. She can kind of float
Mm-hmm.
to the
Mm-hmm.
ground in past playable games, but in this game she just plays the same as Mario. And in the past games, Luigi has had a bit of a higher jump than his brother, but in this game it's identical. The only differences in characters are that there's this one character called Nabbit. I don't remember
The
this
purple dude?
character, but they say that he was from,
Yeah,
he was from Super Mario U.
he is in he's in Super Mario U. Yeah, on the Switch.
Okay. It states here that he's basically baby mode, where he is invincible and you can run into enemies without losing health. So,
Yeah, he showed
um,
up like randomly on levels and you had to race to catch him.
mhm. Interesting.
That's the extent of my knowledge of. But I mean,
You can also play as four different colors of Yoshi, and they also don't take damage from enemies.
really?
So,
That's interesting.
right. hmm And the Yoshis do have the traditional flutter jump that the Yoshis have had
It's
in the
weird they don't
past.
take damage
So,
from enemies, so how does that work?
yes. Well, it's basically, I think, a kind of thing where if you're making a choice, like if I want to play with a very young family member, maybe I would play as one of the standard characters and maybe they would play as a
Oh,
Yoshi.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that, kind of to like a golf handicap, level the playing field a
Yeah.
little bit.
It's
So,
really cool to see how
um,
they've like look at the turtles. The turtles are so different from
they're
what
so
we know,
cute.
right? Like they're just
They're so
yeah.
cute. There are a bunch of new enemies. There are hobby cats that copy your character's jumps,
It's
which can
cute.
make it pretty tricky to get
I
over
love the
them.
puns.
Um, yes, there are some melon piranha plants that shoot melon seeds at you instead of fireballs.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
all
I am
kinds of different
so
things. These
excited.
these
Look at
these
these turtles. Did
mumsies
you
are
see
little
them? They had roller
mummified.
skates.
I
They
didn't
had
see the big
roller skates
turtles.
on, Shalene.
Yeah,
I'm
that is
sorry. I'm getting
fabulous.
a little bit excited now.
Oh no, it's quite all right. Quite all right. Three new power ups were introduced. The elephant, of course, that we saw at the end of the original trailer, where Mario turns into a great big elephant, and it makes his character bigger, stronger, lets you run across big gaps. And there is a bubble power up where you can take down impervious enemies, and you can also use it to create platforms to get to some hard to reach areas. There is a drill power up where you get a little drill hat and you can use this to drill through the ceiling or the floor, which will get you past obstacles. And of course, Daisy fans will be happy to know that Daisy is playable and she can use the fire flower.
Huh.
So that is great. Um, there are badges, which is a bit like achievements, it's challenges that you earn badges for. um, 4-player local multiplayer. And one of the things I thought was so funny is that Yoshis can ride other Yoshis. And that even counts if two players are both playing as Yoshi. One of the players can ride on the back of the other player, which is just
I
absolutely
think that's
silly.
actually kind of a callback to Yoshi's Island. right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And the elephant form of characters can also ride on Yoshi. R.I.P. Yoshi's back. Somebody call him a chiropractor. Um, yeah, it looks great. They're also releasing a Switch OLED Mario Red edition, which will have red Joy-Cons and a red dock. And it looks really
uh,
cool. So,
I'm not.
mhm.
I don't know if they'll sell a lot of those now that they're announcing that there's going to be a new Switch. But
Well, they haven't announced that. That's just a rumor so far. So it's
okay,
not an official
okay.
announcement. But I do think that a lot of people who had been holding out for the OLED picked one up when the Zelda version came
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
So I think they may not sell as many of them as they did the Zelda version. But of course, Mario is very much a system seller. As we discussed earlier in the show, Mario means so much to us at our this stage in our
You know,
lives. You know, we grew up
I
with
don't know
Mario.
if I can get past this Mario elephant because all I can think of is when the magic carpet in Aladdin gets turned into an elephant.
Yes.
Right? And he just doesn't he's just so
Abu. Yeah, he's
he's
like
so clumsy and he just doesn't know what he's doing, but
mm,
um
so funny.
I there's a lot of new stuff in this Mario
I'm
that
really looking forward to this game. I think it looks
yeah.
fantastic. A true return to
Well,
form.
and this comes at a good time for me because I have the family membership on the Switch, as you know, Shalene, and I've been making my way
Mm-hmm.
through the Mario journey, through all the different games, all
Ooh.
of the different Marios, and playing them and seeing how the games have evolved over the decades. Um, and it's
Yes.
so interesting to watch how they incorporate little elements of each game into each new game. And just watching this trailer and taking a look at it, it's like they've taken little bits of all of those previous games, and there's little bits and
Mm-hmm.
pieces of it here, which I just love. But
I am absolutely looking forward to hearing more about your
are you going
Mario
to get it and
journey.
play it?
I plan to,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
We should play it together.
That would be
That would be
so
super
fun.
fun.
That would be so
Yeah.
much fun. I think we
Mm-hmm.
should do it. Yes.
Whew.
Um,
Anyways.
our next bit of news is not as fun. Volition Games has announced its closure after 30 years of game development. And I'm just going to read the statement that they posted on social media. The Volition team has proudly created world class entertainment for fans around the globe for 30 years. We've been driven by a passion for our community and always worked to deliver joy, surprise, and delight. This past June, Embracer Group announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. To help our team, we are working to provide job assistance and help smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You will always be in our hearts. And of course, Volition were the makers of the Saints Row series, as well as the Red Faction games, among others. So this is another end of an era. They were quite a storied developer, and that's a shame to see them end
Hmm.
that way. It's one of the consequences when all these acquisitions are
Yeah.
happening. So
I don't
it's a
have
real
any
shame,
comments on that. It's unfortunate, but
right?
it is reality.
It is, yeah. But our hearts go out to everyone who has lost their jobs, and we hope that you find new employment very soon. Our next article, this one is a TechSpot article by Daniel Sims, and I'm not even sure how to feel about this, if we're being perfectly honest. Star Citizen has raised $600 million, and it's not out yet. It's not at a final release. This game it's in development forever, and they've raised more than $500 million, and they're not even in full release. This is a crowd-funded game. They reached 600 million after a decade of development. They have no release window forthcoming. Um, 100 million of that sum has been raised since last September. So that's just 1 year. In 1 year, they raised $100 million. This is, of course, an incredibly ambitious multiplayer space simulation game in which they combine piloting and first person shooter combat with a massive, seamless universe. It began its funding campaign in 2012, and they maintained a very high pace of funding. I just it's astonishing. May of 2023 brought in nearly $20 million alone, coinciding with a free to play event. And much of the game's funding comes from selling virtual ships for hundreds of dollars. But they had a trial that allowed users to test all of them for free. And Stater mentions that there are technically two games in development, which is the next little section of this article. There is a single player companion game called Squadron 42 that is still being developed. And some footage from the story mode has been released, but little else is known about that. Uh,
Why don't they
it's
just take the labels off of it and say that it is a game that is out, that is
that
in
is under continued
continually in
development. Yeah.
development, like, and the money that you put
I would
into it,
respect that a
like,
lot
just
more. I would frankly respect that a
stop
lot
beating
more.
around the bush and just say that, like, your money goes directly to keeping this game going.
Yes. And Sater in the chat has posted a number of screenshots from this game. You know, it's a very frequent poster of Star Citizen screenshots in our screenshots and stories
Oh,
segment
I'm
of the
so
game,
excited for
of
that.
the GameStack show. And these screenshots look like a finished
Oh
game.
yeah.
You know, that
Mm-hmm.
they don't look like a beta of a game. They look amazing. They look absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. And the variety of things that are happening in these screenshots, I don't understand why they're not just releasing the game. Is it so they can fall back on the fact that, oh, we're still early access, you know, if something goes wrong? Or I don't know. Sater, if you have any insight, let
Yeah,
us
I'm
know.
curious what the legal,
You're really the only person I know who plays
like,
this
what
game.
are the legal
So
implications of labeling it as such as it is now, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
$600 million is something to write home about. And you know, if they're not careful, well, I mean, there are no
I
industry
don't know.
standards.
I don't think I could bring myself to invest large amounts of money into a game that's been like in early access for 10 years. I would feel weird about that.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I just read an article about people who received what was it that they received? Something on a Kickstarter that they funded like 10 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and the guy finally finished the
Yeah,
project, and he like and they forgot that they even funded it.
that's so
But
funny.
yeah, no, I think there's the elephant in the room here, Shalene, and that is that game developers need to stop this narrative of releasing games in beta and alpha and pre-alpha and whatever the hell you want to label it.
I
Just
don't like
say,
it.
here's our game. It's not done.
We're still
It's
working
not
on
done,
it.
but we want you to see it, and we want you to be part of that
Mm-hmm.
process. We want you to be
Mm-hmm.
part of that game's history and help us make it what you want it to be. Um,
Yeah.
there's no shame in that.
I feel, I don't know, game releases are getting very elastic, in my opinion. And it makes me, this is very much a tangent that I'm going off on now, but it makes me think of the Starfield release, which happened this past week. Um, they had the thing where you pay $100 for the special edition, and then you get to play it 5 days early. And that was the real launch of the game,
Bullshit.
right? That was the
Yeah,
actual launch of
yeah.
the game. And I
I
don't like that.
feel your frustration coming through. And I feel the
It's
same. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's it's a money grab.
it seems gross to me, and a lot of games have been doing this, and I've been suckered in. I've done this in the past. I didn't pay for the Starfield early access, but I have in the past paid for early access to other games, and I feel pretty gross about it. I really do. I really do. I don't know.
Um, what is that saying? P.T. Barnum. There's a sucker born every minute.
Yes. Sater does reply that the mechanics aren't there to release, so apparently it's not as complete as I thought it was. Um, and Sater also goes on to say, "Isn't that what an alpha is?" Presumably in response to your statement of saying, um, "We want you to be part of the release of our game, and the process." So, I yes, but also no. And
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, but also no. There's a fine line between doing something in this space honorably and taking advantage of people. And, if you're giving people early access for a certain fee just so that they can access a game 5 days earlier, uh, you know, if you're placing a label on something and you're just like stretching it out over X amount
uh,
of years, like what good? The only thing that's happening, I think, for people who may be more disciplined or able to see the forest
mhm.
through the trees, um,
And
is
of
that
course,
you're actually creating a loss of trust with, right?
the frustration of the Starfield staggered release is a very different thing than
But it
Star
speaks to the
Citizen's
same issue.
situation.
It speaks to the same issue that video game developers have saturated how they release video games to, but they've also tried to sort of like maintain this like nostalgia about video game release day where they can build up the
Mm-hmm.
hype and make it this big thing where it's like, I don't know, like I almost feel like I would be more comfortable in a developer saying, okay, you're going to be able to
Yeah.
buy or pay for access, not buy, pay for access to our game, which you've been waiting for X amount of months, but we're going to keep developing it and it's going to,
Yeah.
we need you to help support it. So in a year's time, you know, will you pledge more money? Can you pledge more
Mm-hmm.
money? And that's a scary thing to say because we're dancing with subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
hate subscriptions. So I don't know what I want.
Uh, Sater goes on to say it looks pretty, but the game loops need work. That makes sense. Okay. So the actual the actual game itself isn't
Mm.
quite there. But the engine
I mean, good on
works.
them for raising
And
$600 million. Like
yes, that's
it's
incredible
like
success.
wow.
But it freaks me out, man. I've been freaked out by Star Citizen for a long time. People have paid so much money for ships in this game that at the time that I started being freaked out by this game, that there was no game. Now there's at least
Maybe
something
it's a cult.
tangible that
It could
maybe
be a
it
cult.
is. I don't know. Satyr, blink twice if you need help, okay?
Next story.
But I do have another thing to say, though, about the Starfield staggered launch before we move on, which, of course, is a different situation. But I played Starfield on the launch day of September the 6th, and it felt kind of sad because most of my friends had already put in like 40 hours at this point of Starfield. And I felt really sad,
Were
but
you
also
having
I
were you
was
having
unwilling to
FOMO?
play to pay the yeah, I was having some serious FOMO,
That's why
and
people
I
pay
felt
the
left
early
out.
access.
But I was unwilling to pay that extra money to get
Well,
to get
good on you
access
for
early when I
being
could
an
just wait.
adult.
Well, good on me for being broke is what the situation is. If I had had more money at the time, I might have paid
If you
it. I
hadn't
don't know.
spent all that money
I
on
I talk a
mascara.
big game. Yes, exactly. And books. Yeah, makeup and books where all my money goes. Um, let's move
No, I
on.
agree with
Let's
you,
move
and
right along.
I just want to say too, while we're on the Starfield topic, because this is probably the only 3 minutes on the show where we're actually going to talk about it. Um, I don't have it, as you know. My PC,
Mm-hmm.
which is running this show right now, will barely run Starfield. Probably not run it at all.
Yeah, like the minimum recommended
Yes.
specs is right where your PC
Yes.
is.
So I basically have to build a new PC to be able to play this game. And that's not part of the reason. Well, that is part of the reason why I haven't gotten it yet. But the other reason is that I've been burned in the past by Bethesda games and other games where I pay, I pre-order, I get so excited, I download, I play it, and it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm taking the cyberpunk approach to this. I'm watching people play it, checking it out, keeping an eye on for when it goes on sale, and then I'm going to pick it up on like half price. And then I'll feel good about it because I will have gotten it at a steal. And it'll be during a time when probably they push some patches and it works a lot smoother,
Yes.
right? So
It'll be in a better condition than it is at the original.
yeah, it is tough though, Shalene, to sit through everybody's hype. And
Mm-hmm.
because
Yes, very
everybody is
much
like, "Oh,
so.
you got to play it. It's so good." Like it's like you're missing out and I'm like, "I'll play it when I'm
Yeah, and
ready."
it was the same situation for me with Baldur's Gate 3. I really want to play Baldur's Gate 3. It looks incredible. Everybody was talking about it. My coworkers were talking about it. I didn't get it for a couple of reasons. One of those being that I think it might explode my PC. And another one being that I was pretty broke at the time. And, other reasons. But would I have had time to play it if I had
No.
bought it?
No.
Probably not.
So, you've
Probably
only made
not.
it through the character creator in Starfield?
Pretty much, yeah. That's
What are
really all
your
I've done.
initial
So.
impressions?
Initial impressions, I did not enjoy the character creator. I thought it was a fairly bad character creator. I think there are people who could do a great job with it. I'm not one of those people. My character is ugly. I tried very hard to not make her ugly. Um,
Does she have curly hair?
I really struggled with it. She does have curly hair. There is like one short curly hairdo. It's fine, I guess. That hair is sure Bethesda as heck. Let me tell you what. It was really funny because I boot up the game and you open your eyes and you're talking to these characters. And I thought, man, those character models look pretty darn good for this being a new version of the creation engine. I'm pretty impressed. And the facial animations seemed pretty solid, that everything was really clean looking. And it's like, dang. And then I got into the character creator, and man, was that Bethesda hair sure some Bethesda hair. It, it was still very much the Skyrim hair, and some of the styles are very much Fallout Raider
Yeah,
hairstyles.
like somebody
And
had
yeah,
took a bottle of school glue and just like wiped it in there, and it was
yeah,
just yeah. Ay,
amazing,
ay, ay.
amazing. So I was not super impressed with the hair. I was pleased that there was a curly hairstyle.
And
That was
how's the
nice.
makeup?
Um, the makeup is not bad. I still think it's not as good as it could be. Um, but I am perfectly satisfied with the makeup on my character. And I did appreciate that I can make a solid eyeliner
Yeah,
wing.
yeah.
Uh,
Gotti Radio in the
yeah.
chat says
So,
recommendations wait 6 hours before forming an opinion. I felt the start was slow, and
oh,
right when I was
yeah.
asking, "Am I ever going to enjoy this?" it got great. Yeah, that's a good
And I
perspective.
am only commenting on the character creator right now because that's really
The
all
only
I've done.
thing, yeah, and the only
So,
thing I can comment on is the gameplay that I've watched from people streaming it online,
mm-hmm,
and my
right.
general consensus is that it is um, looting, shooting, and lock picking, um,
Mm-hmm.
and then janky dialogue cinematics that remind me of like
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas,
I
where it like pans to the person, then it zooms into their face, and then there's like
mean, that's the
like I'm
Bethesda
just like,
thing.
oh my god,
Yeah,
you
that is the
haven't moved
Bethesda
away from
thing.
this yet. You're still, it's still okay. It's fine.
That's what I expect,
Yeah.
frankly. I, speaking of Fallout New Vegas, I would say that there are some good Fallout New Vegas inspirations that I'm seeing
Oh
in here
really?
too. such as you can, during character creation, you can choose a background for your character from like 16 different backgrounds, and what you choose will have an effect on later dialogue and later game experiences. And there are traits, which of course you will remember from Fallout New Vegas. And the traits, much like Fallout New Vegas, have a benefit and a drawback. And I think that's really fun, really, really
Ah,
fun. So
I
I think that's an important
definitely,
part of character creation. I think it's going to be a very solid
yeah,
RPG. And I
yeah,
haven't played one of those in quite some
yeah,
time.
I'm definitely
So,
gonna play it. Just not now.
of course, bear in mind, folks, I've only played through the character creator, and then I took like 4 steps, and then I was absolutely exhausted, and I went to bed, and I haven't had time to
Are you
play
gonna
since
play some
then.
this weekend?
So
Maybe.
yes, I
Ah,
am.
excellent.
Yeah, I am planning to like crack open a bag of chips and play some Starfield and live my
Okay,
best life.
sounds good.
So that's it for the news.
All
Let's move
right,
on.
let's talk about the stocks. So these prices are in comparison to 3 weeks ago, of which not all that much has changed, except for Microsoft up $17.79, closing at $334.27. Sony closing out at $84.22, up $1.56. Nintendo up 40 cents at $10.87. Take Two up $5.31 at $142.77. Activision up $1.65 at $92.12. Ubisoft up just 69 cents at 27.81. EA up $3.39 at 121.75, and Tencent closing out at $40.29, just up. That would be down. Sorry, down 80 cents. Yeah, that is GameStack, StockStack, GameStock, something. Let's talk about some mail.
You've got mail.
What's on the stack, Shalene?
We have a few entries. I don't know how many we're going to get through today, but I'm going to start with this one from Taz. Hey, all, Taz here. Many times, the sim games like Farm Simulator or other games like American Truck Simulator or European Truck Simulator and others will most times get overlooked by the media and other places because the sim games are not as flashy and or sexy like those of the GTA series or Call of Duty and the like sort of games. What are some of your favorite sim games that you all like to play?
Well, I guess I'll start because I'm really the only simmer here. I would say Microsoft Flight Sim is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
American Truck Sim and European Truck Sim ETS2 also very good. Farm Sim 22 is fantastic. Um, yeah, they're good. They're all good in their own way. The one thing
Mm-hmm.
that I will say is that I think they get overlooked by the media, and that's okay because it's such a niche community,
It
and
really is.
that
Yeah.
the people that play sim games are very dedicated to playing sim games. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is their genre of games that they play. So these companies can develop a new game and put a new version of their game out, and they don't really have to advertise it all that much
Mm-hmm.
because people are going to buy it anyways.
One of my favorite sim games has been PC Building Simulator.
Yes.
I've put several hours into that, and I
That's
really
how you
enjoyed it.
built your
I thought
new
it was a fun
PC, didn't
time.
you?
No, that's I didn't use
Oh,
that to
okay.
build it, but I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
it's a fun time. Would Animal Crossing count as a bit of a sim, like a life sim? Sort of, it's more of a cozy, I guess. But I think it's a game that defies genre in some
Yeah, well,
ways.
I mean, you're doing a bit of everything. You're gardening, you're
Mm-hmm.
farming, you're cooking, you're building,
Mm-hmm.
designing. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
RTZ puts an answer in. He says, Elite Dangerous, Truck Sims, and SnowRunner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
that was a
darn
really good
good.
question.
Yes, good question, Taz. Thank you.
Do you want to go in with the next one or
Let's
save it till
save
next
them and
week?
move on to screenshots
I
and
agree.
stories. But if you would like to post a question in the Mailstack channel for us to read out and talk about on the show, you can do so by posting it in the MailStack channel in our Discord. Okay, so screenshots and stories. What the community is playing, and I just gotta queue up the photos here. Give me 1 second.
This is one of my favorite
Oh,
segments.
we're starting right out of the gate with Shalene and I's photo here. This is just so good.
Yes. So, do you want to tell the people what's
No,
going
you
on
can
here?
explain it. I'm gonna let you explain it.
Okay. Vendor built us a podcast studio in his attic in Animal Crossing, and it's so cute. He's sitting there in his lovely chair with a soundboard to the side and a nice camera. We've both got microphones. I've got a ring light. There is one of those on-air light up signs. On my side, he put a nice fan and a little container of Cheetos in case I want some snackies later. And of course, I didn't realize we were doing this day, so I showed up in a skeleton costume, like you do. So this was not my podcasting best, but it's just such an adorable room. And in the parts of the room that you can't see, there are so many little touches that just speak to our podcasting habits and history. And it absolutely
if you look at my
me.
background that I'm using for my camera for the show tonight, it's actually the other view of my chair. And so there's the espresso machine and then the plant in the corner. And then I put this rattan chair here, but because I don't actually have like a leather.
That's
where my reading chair is. And yeah, it's just very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. And of course, the other characters on screen right now are Amy and Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it will evolve. But it's pretty bougie room.
Oh, it's brought me so much joy.
I think my favorite is the giant gong behind you because we are a bit of a gong show. Okay, next photo. This one is from you, Shalene.
Oh, it is. Yes, this is a screenshot from Dave the Diver, and you can see the massive eye of some kind of deep sea Lovecraftian creature. And of course, Dave is tiny down there in the corner, just being very startled.
Yeah, very good. We have this one from Taz. And sorry, I just need to navigate to where that is in our list here. He says, oats for the season are harvested, shown in the first pallets of the floor of oats that are homegrown on the ranch. Yeah.
Very cool.
It says boxes and it says premium flour on it. And then this next one, he says ranch horses have arrived and are settled in. Shown is the new horse stable that he just put in. Look at that grass. Needs to be cut. And also this one, he says his new mare, Opal, out for her daily ride.
So his character is riding this black horse.
Yes.
So.
And then he said he's also got a roster of horses, 3 full-grown mares and 3 foals. Each are named after Shalene, Vendor, and Rick. The full Shalene is a Palomino. Rick is a brown horse, and Vendor is a gray.
That's adorable.
Then we have this post from Patriot Gaming USA. It says, first time I've seen this in years. And
this looks like an Oblivion
game. It must
be,
yeah. This image here from Alex, she says Zephyr prefers his bunnies diseased, and it's a picture of Zephyr in World of Warcraft, and he's holding a green glowing bunny rabbit, presumably dead. I don't know. It's upside down. The bunny is upside down.
I like to prefer to think that no harm was done to the bunny.
This one from Vexinator is an image of looks like a robot tanky dude on some sort of asteroid with big ships and skies in the background. It says, I like my explosions big and beautiful. And so
what game
I have
is
no
this?
idea.
Folks, please put the name of the game with your screenshots so that we know what it is.
Here's another one from Taz on his riding mower in Farm Sim. He says someone looking sort of like Vendor getting ready to mow the lawn. He's just like, I love how like stiff the arms are on this guy riding this lawnmower. He looks like he's got two dislocated elbows.
That is an extremely stiff
Yes.
stance.
He also has this one: first load of farm dairy fresh butter being delivered to the ranch and the vineyard. And
Lovely.
also this one, the cheese and flour being delivered to the store and bakery, which was produced from the first season's milk and grain products. I love this truck that he's using, and he's got like a train. Looks pretty cool. Then this one somehow fell into the stack.
Ooh, it's eyes.
This is
so cute. This is an Animal Crossing screenshot featuring myself and Bender and Jess in little matching luchador outfits. And we're in front of Jess's tulips. So we tried to color coordinate as best we could with the tulips behind us. I'm this angry little pink one.
Yeah, that's you, Shalene. I love the little knee pads on the wrestler outfits. It's cute. Then we have this glorious shot from a dubious character in our community, the one and only Joshy Neurotic. Joshy was down in Burning Man Festival.
Yes.
Which has garnered some public attention this year due to the massive flooding that they have experienced at the event in the Nevada desert. But this image he posts to us is of him sitting on some sort of grandiose tin-made throne with these giant wings that are all lit up behind him. It looks...
There's spurting gouts of flame.
It looks very good.
It's pretty darn cool. So, looking rad there, Josh.
He also posts this one. It's called a flamingo camp. Also, it says migration station on it. There's a bunch of flamingos in front. It's all pink, and there's like a lounging area. I see a mannequin in there that's all dressed in pink.
So do you like kidnap a flamingo and relocate it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Burning Man is always something that's fascinated me, but I think it's a little bit of an oxymoron of sorts. But we won't get into that. So it did rain, and he posted this picture from his tent of his boots just like stuck in mud. It looks like he just fell into his tent and the boots just came right off and they're just there in the mud.
Yeah. That's rough, man. That was so much mud.
It was a lot of mud.
We are glad that you got home safe,
Yeah,
Joshy.
yeah. It was pretty dicey. He was working the event. He was a staff member.
Ooh, double rainbow.
Yeah, and he took a picture of this double rainbow for us. So thank you for the Burning Man photos. We love it.
That was a fun adventure.
And then he posted, just to even things out, he posted this nice shot from Starfield. His character, he's...
See, his character looks great. Why doesn't mine look great?
He made Holden from The Expanse in Starfield. So...
Yeah, I think my character creation complaints are probably a me problem and not a Starfield problem at all.
An issue, not an ish them.
Yes, it's a... What is it? The problem exists between keyboard and chair.
Client side.
Yes.
I'd seen an article about how some people were complaining how it's like running so janky, and Todd Howard was like, get a better PC.
Oh, brilliant.
Anyways, those are screenshots and stories. Submit those in our Discord if you would like us to share them and talk about them on the show. Let's talk about our favorite part. What we've been playing. And I guess I'll go first, yeah? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, as always, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I will touch on that in the moment, but I do want to share something very important with you, Shalene. It may have taken me 30 years, but I actually beat Super Mario World for the first time.
Congratulations!
Yeah. So, and like I said, I'm making my way through all these Mario games. I'm going to beat all of them. That is my thing. I'm going to get my $99 worth for my membership this year, and I'm going to beat all of them, and it's going to be so good.
Wonderful.
So it was such a cool thing, like the end level with Bowser's Castle, and you've got to go through all these doors. It was wild. It was so wild.
And you never beat it the
never
first
beat
time that
it.
you played,
I
you know, as
only
a
ever
kid.
made it to like the second world, maybe. Super Mario World was not something I grew up with.
Yeah, I don't think I ever made it past World
Super
4.
Mario World was my friend next door had Super Mario World, so I only ever got to watch him play it while I was over there.
Right.
So my exposure to Super Mario World was nil.
Limited.
But
yeah.
So it was kind of cool to beat that. I'm excited.
Well,
yeah.
Congratulations. That's really neat. It's so neat revisiting these titles as an adult.
It's like so different. It's such a different experience, right? And there was so much that I missed in Super Mario World that I have to go back to, like all of the little secrets and stuff. Yeah. And there was parts where I really, really got stuck. Like I had to walk away from it and come back another day, got stuck kind of thing. But yeah. So I am playing some Animal Crossing. I finally have a full island. I've got all 10 villagers. My last villager was Bangle, and she's a tiger. I think I told you guys about that. I finally went and visited Harv on Harv's Island after he sent me the letter, and I now have the ability to bring in additional vendors, which is going to be really nice, except it's pretty pricey, 100,000 a vendor. So... and I am so in debt. Like, I'm so in debt. This game has somehow become fully realistic.
Oh, no.
Jess gave me a golden sedan, and it's like this car that's completely encrusted in gold paint. It's the most ostentatious thing ever. So I put it behind the resident services because I'm pretending that it's Tom Nook's car, and he is just cashing in on all of the money that I give him every single day.
Got a Rolls Royce.
So, yeah. My house is coming along. I've moved some rooms around. I now have a full hot pot set up in my dining room. I've got a hot pot table. It's so awesome. There's all these little dishes with all these little dumplings and soups and vegetables, and it's really good. And there's a lazy Susan on it when you sit down and you can turn it. My kitchen looks really good too. I enjoy the kitchen. And I finally put the work order in to have my house moved. So the next time you log on, my house will be in a different location. Do
we have to wait and see?
Let's just let you wait and see. Yeah. Mysterious. But other than that, Shalene and I have been hopping into Animal Crossing here and there. Of course, last night was Animal Crossing Thursday, so we did a bunch of touring around on each other's islands and seeing all the different things. I really am looking forward to see what you do with this castle. I really want to see how this castle comes along.
That's going to be a slow formation, I think, the castle. So we'll see. We will see.
That's my gameplay.
But speaking of the castle, I started a castle on my Animal Crossing island. So far, it just has one tower. But we'll see where to go from there. Jess gave me a wall, so I might add the wall. We'll see.
I'll keep my eye out for castle parts.
I think I'm going to take the castle parts to the alpacas on Harv's Island, because he has the ability to make a lot of things like old looking and mossy covered, which I really dig. I like the idea that it's like the ruin of an old castle. So I may have to do that. I have also been playing a bunch of Animal Crossing, surprising absolutely no one. And I've had some fun adventures. It's been enjoyable. I found a star fragment island on one of the tourist tours.
Oh, that's fun.
And that was really, really cool. Yeah, there were just star fragments
Those are
everywhere.
super rare.
When you whacked the rocks, star fragments came out instead of rocks or bells or anything like that. It was star fragments. And there were so many different kinds of star fragments, all of the different zodiac season star fragments. It was really cool. That. I also have decided that it's spooky season. You know, the PSL is here. It is basic girl season, and I decided that spooky season has also begun, and I turned my back bedroom into a spooky room, and I put like an evil summoning circle
I
in the
love it.
floor
It's
like
so
you do,
good.
and you guys have been shuffling me some little spooky pieces to put here and there, and it's really coming
I like
together.
the spooky room because I
Um,
feel like once the spooky is over and we're moving into like Thanksgiving / Christmas, you can recycle the spooky stuff into your castle.
Absolutely. Oh, that's such a
Hmm.
good idea. I can make a haunted castle. My gold room in the attic, it began as a treasury, and I am getting more and more golden stuff to put in there. And Jess has been a huge factor in that. She's been sending me all kinds of fun
She's
gold
such a money
stuff.
bags.
So it is really looking ridiculous. It's blinding. The gold is blinding when you walk
I
into that
love it.
room. And she's also been funneling me a lot of artwork from a perfectly legitimate art dealer named Red. And I am down to just needing one more painting to finish off my museum. Of course, I still need one fish for the fish display. But
Which
in terms
fish?
of art, it's a blowfish. So I believe those are supposed to be out in November, late at
I
night.
have
So
definitely. Oh, I think I've caught in a puffer fish.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's different. But um, we're close. We're very close to completing the museum. And there was one really cute thing that I wanted to mention. And on Harv's Island, you can encounter this character named Tortimer. And Cap'n that does the boat tours. I believe Tortimer is his grandpa. And Tortimer he's a very elderly tortoise,
Aren't
and
all
he
tortoises
manages your
elderly? Like,
stash for you. And he's a really cute character. But it's acorn season in Animal Crossing. You can shake trees and get
let me see
acorns
if I
out of
can
the
pull this
trees.
up here.
And he apparently is super obsessed with the acorn season because he is wearing a little acorn helmet and calling himself Cornimer. And every time you talk to him, he offers you a little acorn, like, here you go, Sonny, have an acorn. It very much the same kind of vibe as like your grandpa always having a pocket full of Werther's candies.
So good. So good.
And it's just adorable. It's just adorable. So I quite like Cornimer. And the final thing I want to talk about with Animal Crossing New Horizons, okay, longtime listeners of this show will know that my Animal Crossing island was absolutely covered in tulips. There were so many tulips. The tulips had become an invasive species and had absolutely taken over the island. I was unable to place objects. I was unable to get balloon presents because the present would fall into the tulips and just be lost forever. And I couldn't shake trees because the items had nowhere to
Oh
fall.
man.
It was disastrous. But the tulip scourge has been defeated. Has been defeated. It took me 12 hours over 2 days to dig up all those tulips. It was a
12.
feat. It was an undertaking.
12.
My thumbs hurt. And when I say 12 hours, that that was strictly digging tulips. That doesn't include the time that I spent, talking to
So
villagers.
like when you
And
did this, did you
um
like have like Netflix on in the background to like help you through that?
I did, yeah. I was watching episodes of My 600-Pound Life in the background. So while I dug
Of course
tulips.
you were.
And yeah, it took me 12 hours over 2 days of just
That's why
digging
you're on
tulips.
season 9.
My my actual game play time was much more than 12 hours for that weekend. It was a little
See, and
embarrassing.
like these
But Chaotic Holland is no
these poor
more.
these
Yeah.
poor kids in China that just want to play Animal Crossing and they can't because there's all these restrictions and their islands are being overrun by invasive tulips and it's just like I don't know.
Well, If they only had 12 hours to dig them up, then they'd be okay. Also, I hit a huge milestone in Animal Crossing this week. I am a 4-star island now. Tortuga, my island, 4 stars.
Nice.
And it happened the day after I dug up the flowers, and I think there may be some relation between these two activities. They may
Definitely.
be connected somehow.
Definitely.
So, yes, but I'm so proud of myself. Every time that I see all that empty grass where I can do stuff and place things and shoot down balloon presents, it just fills me with a sense of accomplishment. So yeah, Animal Crossing.
So how are you going to prevent them from spreading again?
I am okay. So I've made some hedge fences because they don't spread through fencing. And I've put a sample of each color of each type within a separate little fence, just so that I have one of each color of each type of flower.
You know, I think they also don't spread across paths too.
Yes, but I don't really put paths.
That's
I don't
right.
use paths.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So I have thinned the flowers considerably, and so far I've just been going out every day and digging up any that have volunteered, but any new flowers. But I may have to eventually dig them all up and keep them only within fenced areas, because I feel like it's inevitable that I'll play it less. I'll play the game less often, and the tulips will slowly begin to gain a foothold once more.
I don't want to think about that.
I may have to dig them all up.
Okay.
Yes. So I've also played a bit of Fallout 76. On the last scoreboard, I made it up to level 96, and then I bought the rest of the scoreboard with Adam. And I have decided to sit out this season of scoreboard because I wasn't enjoying it by the end of the last one. So I decided that I need a break from the scoreboard. I did want to participate in Meat Week because there are new prizes for Meat Week. And of course, Meat Week began when I had this massive work trip. So that was no fun. So Archon actually set up my computer to be AFK during Meat Week while I was gone. So I did manage to get every new plan from my work trip because Archon set me up.
Good.
So
that's true. That's
thanks,
true
honey.
love right there.
Love. That's love. This man had every device in the house running Meat Week at the same time. It was very silly. I came home from the trip and both computers were on and the Xbox was on, all of them running Meat Week.
Oh man.
Played a little more Dave the Diver. The plot of the game is getting a little deeper. I have an Instagram account that I have to manage now for the sushi shop. And Bancho, the sushi chef, wants me to catch him a shark now. I'm a little nervous about that. And I'm also investigating an ancient mermaid civilization for a local historian.
This game sounds so good.
It is good. I think you'd love it. There are so many upgrade options, both in terms of functional upgrades, like for the harpoon and the guns and stuff, and also cosmetic upgrades for your sushi shop. You can decorate your restaurant in all sorts of different ways. You can change the chairs and the bar and the decorations and the dishes and all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. And of course, I started Starfield. I've already talked about that at length. So that's my gameplay for this week. I do plan to dive deeper into Starfield over the weekend. And of course, I'll be keeping up with Animal Crossing.
And that's your gameplay.
That's it. That's
well,
what I've got.
Folks, that is a show. That was a marathon show. We haven't done a long show like this in a while. But we do thank you for joining us live. And if you're listening after the fact, thank you for your continued support. Don't forget, the show is also supported by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of Wheat Of Coffee Blend, and $2 from every purchase goes to the Children's Miracle Network. And you can also send us some mail, posted in the MailStack channel in the Discord, or you can send us an email at info@wejustlovegames.com. We're on various social media platforms: Twitter at We Just Love Games, Shalene at Shalene L, myself at Vendertron N. We are on Facebook.com/We Just Love Games, Facebook.com/group/We Just Love Games. And we record the show live every Friday, hopefully, from now on, at least for the foreseeable future.
Indeed.
We're not okay. Let's just clear this up. We're not ending the show. I was just making a joke that we've missed
About the
we've
fact that
missed
we've
a couple
missed
shows,
several.
so
Yeah.
nobody freak out. 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. We are on YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, and Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and review. Thank you all for listening. And Shalene, your final word.
We'll be making a water landing, but that's okay because this is a seaplane.
Good night, all.